We continue to convince South Africans that Rise Mzansi is the kind of political movement and organization they need to build. And I think you saw today people from all over the Gauteng who decided to come and receive the manifesto that we've built together with them. And I think that's the main thing. It's the willingness to build the ideas and the policy positions together with people, whether they're members of Rise Mzansi or not.
Guys, you know, it's 2024 elections. I'm here in my street. I'm going to try to speak with a couple of political parties. And I think earlier on, we have already scheduled an interview with Patriotic Alliance. And yesterday, I also got a confirmation from Rise SA. I'm really hoping that these people, man, are going to allow me to speak with the Songeso Zibi. I think it will be a very good contribution to the show if I could be allowed, man, to speak with the Songeso Zibi. So today, I'm here in the streets. I'm here in my own street. This is where I normally vote. So I hope that people are also going to be able to keen to when it comes to speaking with me, man. You know. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 360 experience with myself, Thomas Mabaso. It is a voter registration weekend, so we are out and about. You know that the political parties and political figures are out speaking with the citizens, trying to beg South Africans to vote for them. I'm going to try to speak with a couple of political parties. We have already scheduled an interview with the Patriotic Alliance, and I've already got a confirmation from Rise SA. Like I said previously, I hope that I'm going to be able to speak with the Songeso Zibi, the leader of Rise SA. So guys, please make sure that you are registered. Please make sure that your name is there, your name appears. This is 2024. It is a most crucial election in our life. I've already said it before that if South Africans do not vote right in 2024, South Africa is done. Guys, please make sure that you stick around, like, subscribe, and the most important part, hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever we drop new content. My name is Thomas Mabaso. Make sure that you stick around.
Rise Mzansi, what we are trying to do different, honestly, is to always make sure that people, the voices of the people are heard. And there is no partnership or coalition that we would say we are interested in, more especially because we are where we are, because we are all not happy with the existing political parties.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 360 experience with myself, Thomas Mabaso. So guys, this is a very important voter registration weekend. I told you I'm going to be out and about. I'm going to be speaking with a couple of political parties. I've already spoke with Patriotic Alliance, and now I am happy to be here in Temba, in Tabo. I'm going to speak with my sister ESTHER PADI. She's part of the National Leadership Collective of Rise Mzansi. So guys, please make sure that you stick around, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and the most important part, hit that notification bell so that you can get notifications whenever we drop a new content. My sister, how are you, man? I cannot believe that I called you Rise SA.
No, it's fine. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, man. You know, as we go to the elections, I guess the first question that I need to ask you is, why should young people vote for Rise Mzansi?
I think what we are trying to push as Rise Mzansi, we are trying to say young people must start to be ready and active as the major stakeholders of this country. Young people are the majority in this country, and we cannot have serious issues about the discussions about our future and the future of this country in our absence. So we must become major stakeholders for Rise Mzansi and take advantage of using it as a platform of the people by the people. And where we had issues where young people only participate in the issues of youth league and this and that. Rise Mzansi has created a young people to within the discussion. So I think this that it's always to young people. But importantly, we need to step up. We need to as young people and say, if we are talking about a one generational mission, everyone must be involved.
So we know right now we have a lot of political parties in South Africa right now. So what makes Rise Mzansi different from all of them?
Hi, what would I say? Rise Mzansi is unique.
Yeah.
I think it's unique in a sense that we are trying to introduce new politics.
Yeah.
We are trying to rectify the traditional politics that we have always experienced in South Africa. And basically, in tourism, is to say we understand where we are in a democratic country as South Africa, but we have not experienced it as a nation, as individuals. And we were told, this is the government of the people by the people, but we have not have governed as the people. So Rise Mzansi's mission is basically to say, we set back to the people, let them, when they practice their democratic right, it's cover fella to put that cross, and it's done. But they need to be active participants and be able to understand what it means to hold government accountable. So we are a party that is really pushing to say the voices of the people must be heard. No one must be left behind, regardless of status or in every kind of way. All South Africans need to be involved in decisions and the solutions that we are trying to build to make sure we build a better South Africa for.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I would give Rise Mzansi credit for, like I said earlier on, is that you guys have young people. I remember some person the other day asking Songeso Zibu, how is Rise Mzansi going to attract the young people? And Songeso Zibu said, no, Rise Mzansi is not going to attract the young people. Rise Mzansi is built by young people.
Sure.
But if you look in general, do you think that many young people going into these elections are going to participate?
No, definitely. And if you can look at how many, if I can show you, there's a lot of new voters here, and we have managed to attract new voters, and not only just new voters. And I keep working new voters. I'm talking about your 18-year-olds up to 40-year-olds, because in this country we have someone who's 40-year-old who has never voted because they've never really liked what is in the ballot. But Rise Mzansi managed to pull those people and assured them for indeed we are an alternative that we are pursuing ourselves to be, and we are here to give new answers and new leaders. So I think that already says a lot about Rise Mzansi.
Yeah, speaking of young people, man, I think the first thing that we have to talk about is the issue of unemployment rate.
Sure.
What is Rise Mzansi actually going to do to make sure that they combat this issue of unemployment rate? Because if you have realized, if you listen to a lot of political parties, they only say that we're going to combat crime, we're going to make sure that we fight the issue of unemployment rate. But when it comes to Rise Mzansi, can you please take us into the steps? How is Rise Mzansi going to fight this issue of unemployment rate?
Yeah. So the issue is not I won't say it's not an issue per se, but there's a lot of elements that lead us to that. Number one, we are where we are as a country because of the lack of seriousness and ability of the leaders we currently have. They wake up, go to these big roles they were supposed to be playing, and go there and not do anything. So Rise Mzansi is saying before we can talk about anything we want to achieve, we need to deal with the pandemic of leadership in this country, because we have leaders who don't understand how we can be able to build the economy. And you cannot talk about building or creating jobs if your economy is falling apart. We cannot talk about building jobs whilst every day in this country people are being retrenched. So we need to start assessing why are people being retrenched. Our economy, number one, is not growing because there's load shedding all the time. There's water shedding all the time. Those are smaller elements that help your machinery to move as a country. We cannot grow our economy when our state-owned entities are run by mafias, because that's where the machinery of building the economy comes in. So go Rise Mzansi, we have definitely said that we are not a party that will come and promise people miracles. We know what we are starting, it's a serious problem. And automatically by ourselves calling ourselves a political party, we are definitely inheriting matata di political party tekaofe. So what we are saying is we need to sit down and help people understand. For us to say, yes, we wish to deliver a million jobs and skills to young people in the next 5 years, and we want to bring on board 1 billion to do that skills development. And I will come back later to that. But what I'm saying is the infrastructure of this country is not working. So even if you can say you want to start to move something from there to here, it is not working. Look at Transnet. So those are the big things that we need to start to put our eyes on first, make sure they work properly so that whatever promises that will follow, the economy is aligned and enabling us to create all the jobs we want to create.
So what are you exactly hoping for these elections? Are you going to win the elections, or are you hoping for a couple of seats in parliament to fight within?
No, my brother, we can't do all this hard work by hope. Yes, our mission is to give people the hope, but we are calling ourselves an alternative as Rise Mzansi. That is why you will never find us in the coalitions already made, designed by political parties. Let's form a coalition before elections. So what we are saying, we're calling ourselves the third way. We believe we are an alternative that people want in this country, that will come with new answers and new leaders who will solve this crisis. So our mission definitely is to go up into the head and be able to lead and design a South Africa that we all deserve as a country.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, no? On my platform, one of the things I used to criticize Rise SA on, and I would not spare even Build One
Rise
South
Mzansi.
Africa, Rise Mzansi. I'm sorry for calling it Rise SA. It is not Rise SA, it is Rise Mzansi.
Thank you.
I would not exclude Build One South Africa and Action SA. Is that when I listen to all of these leaders from these political parties, it sounds like they want the same things for South Africa. So the criticism I used to have for Rise Mzansi is, why aren't these people coming together and form and coming under one umbrella so that they can take the fight from the African National Congress? Because what is happening in the country is that no matter how frustrated people are, people still love the ANC. We need to start dealing with that. Right now, President Ramaphosa went out and said that if people do not vote for the ANC, they are going to lose their social grants. So do you understand that in the country we have 30 million people depending on the social grants? So it is not healthy for the ANC to go out with this messaging of saying that if you don't vote for us, you're going to lose the social grants. So I guess my question to you is, why aren't all these leaders of political parties that want the same things, why don't they collaborate?
Okay, so I'm happy that you asked that question, and I think we need to also put it into debate. The reason why we are not collaborating with these parties is that Rise Mzansi, ke party etarileng from scratch. We are not a breakaway of anything. So breakaways of something tend to come with a certain baggage, if I may put it in a language people don't understand. So we are a party of ordinary citizens who said we are tired. In our political party, we only have one politician. All of us are people from civil society, business, and so forth. As ordinary citizens, we said we are tired. We have seen how politicians have treated us as a nation. So we are stepping up now and taking using Rise Mzansi as an electoral vehicle that will put someone we trust and Obeilwen Kebatu to the in power, so that we can be able to regain our power back. So we might sound like we are saying the same thing, but the culture that they have is not the culture Rise is having. Rise is more of a servant leadership, where we believe the needs of the people come first, and we are not your one man show where one man will be glorified. That is why,
like that other guy.
Yes. So that is why we're calling ourselves a collective. And out of the collective, Yarona, is 24 leaders. We don't have top 6 or what, because we are there to collectively bring our minds together with the minds of our volunteers and field organizers on the ground of how we take South Africa forward. So people might have seen the resemblance with us and other parties, but we have not seen ourselves with them. And people have said we are not happy with whatever that was in the ballot, meaning the other political leaders who have been there existing, because they have been there, they have been existing, they went to parliament and this and that. Rise no one has been to parliament except one person. And we are using that to say, let's start from scratch and talk the business of ordinary South Africans, because even so, we have seen where government has always been detached from what's happening on the ground. We know the ground better. I have 10 years experience working as running an NPO, so I know everything that is happening in our communities. So I'm taking that experience and putting it into Rise Mzansi, so that we can definitely deliver what the people want.
So to be clear, Rise Mzansi is not going into collaboration with any political party.
Our collaboration or collision is with the people.
Or is with the people,
not political parties. And after the elections, when we are now, if it happens that we become in collusion as a government in general, we will then say, hold on a little bit, let's go back to our collective and ask them for Rutsamaya. It is a movement of the people by the people, and we have tried by all means to show and demonstrate it. So Arelo Dumelana Leva to resort to City, because what are we discussing? What are we agreeing on? Our people have said they want an alternative. So we need to entertain what they want. So for now, in short, our coalition is with the people.
So a lot of political parties have said that if the ANC calls them, you know, many people are predicting the ANC to get less than 50%.
Sure.
Let's say ANC get 40%. Rise Mzansi, you get like maybe let's say 15%.
Yeah.
And the ANC calls you. Will Songezo pick up that call?
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. I don't know. I don't want to speak on his behalf. And anyway, it's not Songezo's call, it's the call of the people. If he would take that call, he will definitely not agree to anything before the collective say, we are good, let's move, right? But we are not happy with how the ANC generally has operated. We are not happy with how the ANC has degraded the dignity of our people. So I'm sure that will be a very difficult conversation to have, because we can't be working so hard to remove them out of power so that we can put right and good leadership who are not pushing mandates of cadre deployment and so forth. So yeah, it's still going to be a serious conversation to have.
So hypothetically, Rise Mzansi wins the election.
Sure.
It's the election day. Rise Mzansi wins the election.
Sure.
And we know your party is built by young people. So how is Rise Mzansi in details going to empower young people, the same young people who build the structures of the party?
Okay, so I just want to correct this. Rise Mzansi has attracted a lot of young people. I won't exactly say it was built by young people. So there's a lot of issues that we have shared. We have shared in our manifesto about how we want to deal with our first 100 days. I mean, I'm sure that's what you're asking.
Yes.
So generally, there's a lot of questions and solutions we need to come with in terms of how we build the society. And young people included, of course. But one of our first mission, first 100 days, we want to make sure that we first deal with the issue of hunger. Hunger has been a pandemic in this country. So we want to make sure we deal with that issue. Our mission is to say we know young people, majority of them are unemployed. And they come from families, obviously, that are struggling. So our mission is to make sure that we make sure that there's vouchers we provide for families or individuals who do not have employment and who are struggling, so that we make sure every family, every day they have 3 meals a day. And I'm talking about an individual. We are seriously concerned about the institution of family. South African families are wounded. South African families are sick. South African families are bruised. And this thing comes way back from the issues about the apartheid and whatnot. And we have never spoken about the healing of this country in general. So that's another thing that we want to make sure for the well-being of families is start to be a mission. But overall, to speak generally, we cannot have communities that are operating smoothly if our municipalities are not operating smoothly. So our other mission in Kafa's 100 days Arona will make sure that all municipalities that are not operating fluently and smoothly are being put to administration so that the services can go back to the people. So in short, our first priority is basically to make sure that we deal with the essentials. You can't talk to a nation and say, let's imagine a better South Africa, let's build the South Africa we want, which is what we say. And you're talking to people like a hungry stomach. We're not going to get anywhere. So we have been on the ground, we understand these issues. Let's feed our people so that they can think clearly. And you were talking about the issue of President Ramaphosa was saying, but on side grant and whatnot. I mean, that's a lie. It's not ANC that's giving out a grant, it's the government. And what we have been doing over the months before we even launched Rise Mzansi, we were doing the voter education to inform communities and people that this is your right, this is how democracy works. So if people are empowered with understanding how the democracy works, they will not take these things seriously. So we'll continue to be used as pawns to fight battles that we don't understand as ordinary citizens, because some people up there need to gain something from us. So we are saying as Rise Mzansi, enough is enough. Let people know who they are and understand that they are the employers at the end of the day. If I go to parliament, I'm appointed by the people of Rise Mzansi. I didn't wake up and decide I'm going to parliament. And when I go there, I'm now there, like I'm a liability now, or I'm accountable to them rather. Because what we are trying to promote is to have parliamentarians and public representatives always close to communities, so that if Bafila or ESTHER after 3 months I can go parliament and they have the right to recall me and say, Coco, re kopa o bue ntho tsa o nkara o sa di etsa gantle, re kopa o kenya ntate Mabaso nkara o tla etsa bobete. Because that's the power that has been taken away from the people. Even if re utlwa ba re motho o utswitse di million tse ikae di billion, we can't hold them accountable. We don't even understand what is the process. Ramupaisa, yes, what happens? Do we take them to court? Do we take them to SIU? Why is that process not clear? So they continue to steal state money, and then tomorrow they threaten our people. Dignity, which is very unfair.
So would you categorize that as criminal for the president to say that?
I generally think South Africa is a mafia state because everything that is happening is not normal. And you can see sometimes that it is in somebody's benefit that we don't know as ordinary citizens what our rights are.
So in terms of the economy, man, let's talk about money. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about the investors. You know that due to load shedding, South Africa has lost a lot of investors.
Sure.
We have lost a lot of investors. Even right now, as we speak, some investors are threatening to leave.
Sure.
So how will Mzansi actually attract investors into the country? Because as much as political parties are talking about we need to create jobs, we need to create a better environment, but no one is actually talking about how are we actually going to attract the investors to come back to South Africa, or the investors that we have in the country. How are we going to assure them that guys staying in South Africa is going to be the best decision? How is Mzansi going to approach the issue of economy?
Yeah, maybe you should put it in a different way. And I'm trying to be a politician now. Maybe you should ask yourself, why are investors leaving? What is the cost of that?
Me personally, I would say, if I would think of something initially, I would say it's load shedding. Okay. Many of the investors are not even staying in the country because of load shedding.
Sure.
They cannot even run their businesses. They have to pay electricity at the same time. They have to pay for the petrol. They have to pay for the diesel. And so many of them are leaving. And again, because the governing party is so corrupt, many investors basically chose to leave, to close shop. That's why right now, when you see many people have lost their jobs, people cannot even find employment. Is because people have actually left the country and the investors are not coming. And I think if there's one criticism, the one big criticism I have for political parties is not telling South Africans that guys, no, jobs are not coming.
Sure.
As long as we have these people in charge, jobs are not coming.
Sure.
So how are you guys going to attract investors into South Africa?
Yeah. So number one, let's start here, and I think I answered you partially to say you cannot talk about building the economy if kunali load shedding. And load shedding means it's all from the process and the state-owned entity must deal with it. So clearly the leadership is not working there. That is why it still continues, right? So your economy won't exist in that sense. So that needs to be solved, and the leadership crisis issue must be solved. But initially what is important is that as Mzansi, we are saying there's a lot we need to rectify because obviously we cannot inherit a crisis in that, right? But the fairness that we need to share with people is this: we are where we are because as a country, for the longest of time, we never had our own vision. King visionary as South Africans.
Like as South Africans, that's a whole.
Yeah. Do we have a goal? Do we have a vision, an identity? We don't have those things. So let's look at South Africa as a company. If company waitala and ubatla go hira batho and create jobs for people, your company itala ka vision statement. So that it will lead after 5 years, what is it that you want to achieve? That's number one. We don't have that in South Africa. Everyone is walking blindly, including the leaders that guide us, right? So we need to start there. And that is why earlier I was talking about nation building. We need to start to bring people together. And you know what the important thing of bringing people together? Outside, jobs won't come now. Because we need to use this money for PADI grants. I'm making an example, and then look at infrastructure. Infrastructure will cost us this much. So do we agree? But the picture that we want is 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm sorry for cutting you there.
Yeah.
As the party, have you guys audited the kind of damage that South Africa is suffering at the moment?
Sure.
Like you have the figures that this is how much we're going to need to fix the country.
Yeah, definitely. But what I can tell you is the issue for right now as we speak, we might not be having anything in our fiscals.
Yeah.
For treasury, we might not be having anything as we speak. So you see already, that is why we'll keep saying, we are inheriting a crisis. And that is why we are being honest to people to say, we are here as Rise Mzansi to rectify everything that has been messed up.
Yeah.
So it means we might gain some, we might lose some. And the issue, as I said, is our priorities. We need to solve the infrastructure. Gauteng, we know what is our economic hub. And some of our leaders have been engaging big business in terms of how they can help us, because what Rising Mzansi wants to do, a platform for everyone, especially professionals who are professionals in what they are doing, to guide us, because you cannot trust a politician or only an activist who has the number on the ground, and then you take that person suddenly ulomofa SOE ESCOM but dilaka budget over the billion, and you want that person to manage that. You know, some might have capability, but in honest truth, we need to bring professionals close to us to say, "Buffett, you study sheets about economics, what, PhD, what not. Can we now take these skills and transfer them into reality? How do you help us solve this?" That is why we are saying leadership, haina butat. Rise is song as how do you rise? ESTHER how do you rise? But harinking batho ba keneng school, ba tsame ba ilo sebetsa, so that our economy can improve. Because hari was politics, it lo batla ba gore skok re na le 100 billion. Wena o batla bokae? Comrade Mangmang o batla bokae? And we end up not pushing what we need to push. But we need to be a country that is driven by vision, that is driven by a mission. To say, if in 3 years' time, close to 1 million, how do we get there? You can't even say now, rise. Yeah, our wishful thinking is that we want to build, skills and jobs for 1 million young people. But we need to also have a conversation with these young people to say, but we need you to come inside, not be outside the thing.
Yeah.
Come inside and help us. How do we design it? The coding, the IT.
Yeah.
Instead of them wasting their skills, but end up body fraud. How do we take those skills and utilize them? So that is why we say it is for the people, by the people. And the politicians say, hey, and you also need to start, because your vision will guide you. If China, we want to be the major production, a country pushing major production, their vision already, everything, education system builds to that, your health system builds to that, every government department builds to that vision. So we need to design a vision first. Actually, we need 90% of entrepreneurs than employers.
So Rise Mzansi is going to push for transformation, or you're going to push for reform, especially when we talk about the education, because the education, the type of education system that we have today, it's laughable. It's a joke. It's a laughable. It's a joke. 30% is nothing but a joke. There's no way young people in this country can compete with other young people globally with this 30%. Will you guys be reforming that?
Definitely, we have talks, a lot of serious talks about education. And that is why we work at this 1 million young people, we work at skills and jobs. Because out of 100 kids who start school today, in 12 years' time, only 46% bako metric. 46% abafeta school. Babang abafika metric. So you have almost half of them balinko metric. And after metric, you have another crisis where basha pokiri show about study in, because ahona something ever guide or ever channel South Africa right now the engineer. Everything must be systematic, and even the engineers say 500,000. You look and you are what healthy as I'm speaking to you, who are the doctor that can be placed? So wawana motho ya go university ka osana ha tsebe gore kilo etsang ito thusa South Africa ka eng. So the education system must be designed aligned to the vision, so that le bona ba kena sekolo motho a tseba gore after 12 years I'm going to contribute. And those small things, they contribute and build a patriotic nation, because we feel involved in the machinery, not just being driven. We are just followers. We don't want to be that generation.
Because if you guys are going to transform or reform. The education system, what are you going to do about the ones that are suffering the current education system? What are you going to do about the young people who were the victims? Because if you were educated in the past 20 years, I would categorize you as the victim of
Sure.
this Njimutsecha education system.
Sure.
That is a shame. What are you going to do about these people, man, that have been the victims of this education system? Because once the Mzansi comes into power, you're going to reform the education system.
And
Then
it
people are
means-
going to get quality education.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen with the millions that go to poor quality,
Yeah.
poor education?
Yeah, and I will sound like I'm repeating myself, but it will still be led by the vision. Our mission is not to leave anyone behind. We know there's people who are custodians of this failure of government. Obviously, you have already designed your area of view to say, okay, how do we package this? How do we package that? How do we package this? Because if we just design something new and focus on the new generation, we then neglecting this one. That is why even socially, we still don't understand how do we then also leave a gap for people only 35 to 59. For Baskaba anyway. And Wales, they are the people who are now running family institutions, and that's where the family system came from to say these people need to be taken care of. You can't give more to 350, adulele husband, 56, and you expect them to survive 700. I'm just making a typical example.
Yeah.
So there must be placement for those people because every South African needs to be active. Every South African needs to wake up and be able to participate in these small things. But what I'm going to say again is that it's difficult to bring people into a journey. Balapili.
Yeah, it comes
We
back
need
to
to
the- yeah.
feed the people so that how Kalo was serious business. They are aligned because people now are worried about Kiloroba like Ichile. Banabaka Batoja. One understand? And sometimes that occupies your mind so much that nothing else matters. And it is the sad reality of how we have destroyed the dignity of our people. So what we need to do, let's make sure the essentials are sorted. People don't worry about anything. And that is why we're even going all overboard to say, if unalingwane or a single mother, ujile le robala le jile fine, but because people want to work and bring food into their own tables, right? So what we are saying, for single mothers, there will be a fund, ECD, and that means we can create even more ECDs. For one member single, we then design a care economy and grow it and make it make sense because women who are taking care of bana they are caring for a specific, and it's an industry on its own. So and sometimes people are reluctant now to go look for jobs because you
don't even have
you
it.
don't have. So we're also going to create a fund as Rising Mzansi.
Yeah.
It's a job seekers fund. You can access for taxi and get a job that pleases you. But at the end of the day, we are creating something might be new to people, and we are saying we believe everyone is a leader. That is why we call each other leaders, because everyone in their space, they are leaders, and we want to treat them as such. And we then coordinate this vehicle called Rise Mzansi to say people want this, people want that, but it's not up to us. People must participate and tell us what it's. So that's the kind of politics we want to create.
So before I let you go, I want us to take your predictions, the election predictions. I know that Mzansi is a new political party,
Yeah.
but recently there was a report that was released that over 350 political parties have registered with the IEC. How do you feel about that?
No, I won't say I feel otherwise. So I don't know how to respond to that. But what I can tell you, we share the same frustration. I don't know if the intentions are the same, but we share the same frustration. And one thing I can tell you, it doesn't mean all 350 of us will be on the ballot because the process is hectic.
Yeah.
We already had to sign up signatures of more than, how many? Maybe, I don't know, close to 70, or I don't know how much was the quota. I know Gauteng, they required that we bring 15,000 signatures just for us to qualify to be part of the elections. So you can imagine, and we're contesting nationally, so it might be a serious ball game for people, all political parties, to get signatures.
Yeah.
So let's just relax. Not all of us. I don't think all of us might go there.
Yes.
And maybe just to answer your prediction.
Yeah, your predictions.
Rise will do very well.
Yeah.
For a small party, you're going to do very well.
Over 10%.
Over 10%, definitely.
Yeah.
Over 10%, definitely. We have our silent supporters. We have our supporters. We have been doing well. And you know why I'm saying we are doing well? Is because when we started from zero. We didn't inherit any branch or a ward. the work started from the ground.
Yeah.
So with the overwhelming number and support we have, I think we are doing very well.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's my sister ESTHER PADI. She's a part of National Leadership Collective of Rise Mzansi. Is there anything you would like to say before I let you go?
No, I just like to encourage people to go and register to vote. We have in the State of the Nation on Thursday, I believe, there might be a proclamation. So if people didn't get a chance to go and register today, please go onto the online system, because after the proclamation, and remember, your vote is very expensive. Use it jealously. And when you walk into that ballot box, please, you encourage about the employers.
Yes.
I get it. How long Kenya then close? You're employing someone. So walk in there like an employer and do the right thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to employ someone you know they won't do the work.
Yeah.
It is your vision. It is your country. So make sure you deliver a good South Africa for all.
Don't forget to hit that like button, notification bell. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time.